Hey, did you know you could create an AI agent completely for free and you don't even need to know how to code? I'm David, and at David's Donut Den, sometimes we have customers who order donuts for events, but they don't pay us on time, so I gotta chase some people down. Instead of me keeping track of that, let's build an AI agent to take care of that for us. We're gonna use the app n8n. I'll show you how to set it up for free in just a minute, but first, let's get on the same page about what an AI agent actually is. So AI agent can mean different things depending on who you're talking to. So for this video, I really mean a digital process that starts to feel like a real teammate doing work for us. That boils down to about 3 characteristics. First is they have reasoning skills. Unlike an AI chatbot, which you would detail explicit steps to, agents can take in a goal and figure out the best way to achieve that goal. In this example, the agent could first make sure that the article is relevant, the tone and format works for LinkedIn, it checks its work, etc. It figures out what you meant versus just doing what you said. The second is they have tool access. Unlike chatbots, they can actually do things like move money around, email someone, order something for you, or make a post on social media. Third is they have memory. They maintain context throughout a task and even multiple tasks, so they learn from past mistakes just like we do. Now, if that starts to feel like these agents will replace you, I honestly can't say whether they will or won't, but the more you know about them, the more they can enhance and support you. Now we're going to build an AI agent in n8n. n8n is a workflow automation tool like Zapier or Make.com. After you sign up, you get a 14-day free trial and up to 1,000 workflow executions for free. But if you're willing to do just a little more work, I'll show you how to run it for free. First, go to the Docker desktop website. You can find the link in the description below. Then go to the download Docker desktop version and choose the version which is right for you. Once it's downloaded, go ahead and install it. After the install, you'll probably have to restart your machine. And if you're on Windows, make sure you enable WSL or Windows Subsystem for Linux if you're asked. After the install on Windows, double-click the Docker desktop icon to launch it. Accept the service agreement when you're ready, and we'll skip making an account. Now, go down to your taskbar and click on the Start menu. Type in CMD, and then click on Command Prompt. Then type this exactly, all lowercase, docker space volume space create space n8n_ data. Then press the Enter key. If it was successful, you should just see n8n data. Here's the next command. By the way, both of these you can copy from the description. Press Enter again, and after a few moments, your Docker should be started. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means you can copy and paste this link into a new browser window to access n8n. Then create your account and I'll see you on the dashboard. Now here's the main dashboard. I like this one compared to other tools because it's pretty simple. In the top right, you'll see you can create a new workflow. We'll come back to that in just a second. Below that, you have some analytics about your workflows. And then in this section, you'll see all the workflows that you've built. Don't miss down in the bottom left-hand corner, you also have access to thousands of templates. Let's check a few of them out. You can search or filter by the type of template. So let's check out AI templates. You can find all sorts of ways that n8n can help you in your personal life as well as at work. Back on the homepage, click on Test a Simple AI Agent Example to get started. This is the n8n editor. You can move around the canvas by using your touchpad or by middle-clicking with your mouse and dragging. And when you want to get back to the full view of your workflow, click on the Zoom to Fit button in the bottom left. You can also press the number 1 key. Now our workflow has 2 steps in it, and those steps are called nodes. The first node is special. It's called a trigger. That tells n8n how the workflow starts. Because this node says when chat message received, it seems like we can already chat with our agent. Let's try it by clicking the Open Chat button. Then I'll ask in the chat window, are there any signs of life out there? And we hit an error. This is totally expected. We have to set up our agent first. There are 3 things we need to set. First is the chat model, then the memory, and then a set of tools. The model is the reasoning power behind the agent. It's the LLM you want to use. Let's delete the OpenAI model by clicking on the trash can. Then I'll click on the plus icon to see what models I can choose from. There's a lot of others like Anthropic, Gemini, DeepSeek, Ollama, and so on. In this video, we'll select Gemini because I want to show you how to do this for free. Here we need to get n8n talking with Gemini. That's done through a credential, so I'll click on the Select Credential dropdown and click Create New Credential. To do this, we need an API key. That's no problem. Head over to aistudio.google.com. You can grab that link from the description. And once you're here, click on the Get API Key button in the top right. From here, click Create API Key. Then click Create API Key in New Project. If you don't see this button, you can probably create an API key in an existing project. Once you have your key, copy it, then head back over to n8n and paste that key. Click Save in the top right. You should see that the connection tested successfully, and then click the X in the top right. Then under Model, open the dropdown and scroll down until you see Gemini 2.5 Flashlight Preview 617. The reason we're choosing this is because on the free plan, it gives you 15 free requests per minute and 1,000 free requests per day. If these limits have changed, you can check the link in the description to find a better model for you. Now we set up the model, you can click anywhere outside these boxes to head back to the canvas. To see if this worked, let's try the chat one more time. Well, it ran successfully, but it didn't give us a useful answer. We'll have to set up the agent's memory first. Click the plus icon next to memory to add a memory node. So memory gives the agent power to remember its previous steps. In this tutorial, we'll keep it simple and choose simple memory. We'll also change the session ID from connected chat trigger node to defined below. It doesn't matter what you type here, it just means there'll be one place to store memory. And it'll store the last 5 messages with the model. Let's head back to the canvas and add our last piece, which are tools. These give the agent power to do what it needs to do. Let's check out what's available by clicking on the plus button. You can integrate with over 250 different products here. The agent needs access to past invoices, and we can enable it through the QuickBooks Online tool. n8n already has an integration here, so I'll click on that. Just like with Gemini, you'll need to set up your credentials. Now, because you might not have QuickBooks, take this as an example of any third-party app you might want to integrate with. The options that show up after tool description will depend on the app. In this case, under Resource, we want to get invoices, and under Operation, we want to get many invoices. We only want the invoices that are overdue, so let's add a filter. We could type this in by hand, but the whole point of an agent is it should be able to figure this out for us with some minimal instructions. So click the AI button to say, let the model define this parameter. Next, the agent needs to send payment reminders. That means email. Back on the tool connector, click plus again, and then search for email. Now, if you're using the cloud version of n8n, it's actually easier to use the Gmail tool directly. That's because you can just sign in to Gmail. But when you're self-hosting, you have to do a little bit more work. Let's click the Send Email tool. Just like with other tools, let's create our credential. We'll use our Gmail settings. That means the user is our email address and the host is smtp.gmail.com. Now, the password is not your Gmail password. It's something called an app password. You can create one by going to security.google.com, making sure that you're signed in, and then searching for app passwords at the top of the screen. Click on the app passwords icon to make one. Once you have your password, fill in the form and then click the save button in the top right. Your connection should be successful, so let's exit out of this one too. Now that my credentials are set, I need to tell the agent who and what we're emailing. First is the from email. That's easy. It's the email we signed in with. Next is the to email. Now the agent's going to get that from the invoice, so we need to tell n8n, let the model define this parameter. We also want the model to decide the subject line. Then to simplify the email, let's make it plain text instead of HTML. And we'll also rely on the model to generate the message. Now we had to set all of those parameters, but there are some optional ones which we can explore by clicking the Add Option button. You can add attachments or add a CC line or BCC line. However, let me turn your attention to Append n8n attribution. This adds a message to the bottom of every email saying it was sent by n8n. We want to look more professional than that, so let's turn that off. Now let's head back to the canvas and put all of this together. Let's save our progress first, and then let me tell you something about tools. See, it's our responsibility to teach the agent about these tools. And to describe a tool, it helps to name it first. So to name the QuickBooks Online tool, I'll double click it to open its node settings again. Then I'll click on its name and give it a new name. Get Invoices is a simple, self-evident name. Let's exit out of here and then give a name to our email tool. I'll make this one a little bit more descriptive and call it Send Payment Reminder. Now it's time to make our agent sing. Let's double click on the agent to see what we can configure about it. First, we can click on the agent dropdown to see that n8n supports multiple different types of agents. The tools agent is the default. This supports calling all the tools we've just set up. Next, we have the prompt. I'm going to click this icon in the bottom right corner of the window to expand it. In the center of the screen, we just have the current prompt. This is the default that n8n sets up ahead of time. These green and red blocks indicate that the prompt is created dynamically. As you can see, anything inside those curly braces is JavaScript. And then on the right side, you'll see the JavaScript evaluated for the current context. This, by the way, is why our chats didn't work earlier. It's because the agent was instructed to tell us to connect to memory first. Now, instead of starting this prompt from scratch, let me show you a process that can help you get to that right prompt. I'll head over to the free version of ChatGPT, and then I'll click that speech bubble in the top right to turn on a temporary chat. I'm doing this so ChatGPT doesn't use any of its past memory or prompts for what I'm about to show you. So we're going to ask ChatGPT to create this agent prompt for us. Here is a template that you can follow. First, help me write a prompt for an AI agent using these key components: role, task, tools, and outputs. These are common elements of reliable prompts. Then I'll tell ChatGPT I'll write a brief below. That starts with the task, and this pound sign is just a symbol to indicate a heading. So the task is to send payment reminders to customers who have at least one overdue invoice in QuickBooks Online. The next step is context. This is more info for the agent on how to act to do its job. Basically here, I'm telling it to start polite when the customers are under 7 days overdue, but get more and more firm. Then make sure you only send one email per customer, even if they have multiple overdue invoices. Next comes the tools, and this is where we use the tool names to offer descriptions to the agent. I tell it how to get overdue invoices and that it can send payment reminders. Finally, I describe what I want at the end of the process. Here I'm asking for data in a JSON format, which will show why later on. When I submit this, ChatGPT will put the full agent prompt together for me. Now, a trick which I didn't do here is ask ChatGPT to ask me questions first in case there was any ambiguity. You can see an example of that in the description. Now, you do need to proofread that this is actually what you want, especially within the task section. I'm happy with this, so now let's get it into a format we can copy with this prompt. You can copy this prompt from the description. It just converts that prompt into Markdown. Back in n8n, let's replace the prompt in the center column with the prompt that I just copied. Now, we're not quite ready yet. We've got one more thing we need to change. It's this today field I just highlighted. The AI model won't know what today's date is, so we've got to tell it. Here's how we'll do that. I'll simply tell the model the current date. That uses JavaScript, which requires me to use two open braces. Then to get today's date, I can use the special variable now. On the right side, we can see what that actually evaluates to. It's not quite what we want, but if we use the format function, we can retrieve the date by using this date format. That gives us the right date over here too. And if you're not a coder, just remember you can use this text to get the current date. Now, you've been so patient through all this configuration. Let's get this agent working. I'll add a simple step to run this, and then let's see what happens. No guarantees that this works the first try. Okay, I had to try this a few times to get it to work. Every time an issue came up, I just tweaked the prompt a little bit to fix it. To see what actually happened, I've expanded this bottom pane to see the logs. You can click on any step the agent went through to see more detail. And you'll normally see inputs and outputs broken up side by side. So it understood it needs to fetch the invoices and then called the Get Invoices tool. Then it re-invoked the model with this new data and found multiple overdue invoices. Then it sent 2 payment reminders, and one of them was for the Kevin Cookie Company. I always got to chase that Kevin guy down. And finally, here's the actual email, which I can access from my sent box. That brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Intuit, the creator of QuickBooks Online. Now, it's annoying when you don't get paid on time, but did you know that QuickBooks Online already has AI-driven payment reminders built in? They're configured ahead of time based on the customer's history. And if you have several late customers, QuickBooks Online will guide you through automatic late fee collection. It's about more than getting paid though. QuickBooks tracks all the money you earn and spend and categorizes it automatically with AI. That way you actually save money on your taxes since you'll find extra deductions. And sales tax is tracked for you too. So it's a breeze to know how much you owe to each agency. And now it's powered by its own suite of AI agents. It is a great time to try QuickBooks. Click the link down in the description to give it a shot. Okay, so even though we were successful, what we have so far isn't realistic. I have a hard time believing anyone would send out emails without reviewing them first. When we put a reviewer in the process, it's called human in the loop. Fortunately, n8n realizes this is a core part of an agent workflow. So it's got a number of tools you can use to get human approval. Let's build this out by creating an approval process in Discord. Just like all other nodes, we'll start with the credential. I've already set up a token, so I can paste that in here. Now let's configure the bot. I want the bot to message me, so message is correct. I also want it to wait for a response, so this is correct. So next, I'll choose my server, and I want all of these approvals to go to the approvals channel. That's all good, but now we're stuck because we don't have access to the email subject and message here. I can tell that because I can see all the possible data I have access to in this input pane. And the only thing the agent tells us is that it's sent 2 emails. Not helpful. So let's modify our agent node to make this work. So we skipped this option last time, but we're going to need it now. It's called require specific output format. This adds another option to the agent called an output parser. Let's add one and make sure all the data we require comes back. We'll use the structured output parser. That gives us the best chance of getting the subject and message in the Discord node. Here we can set up an example of the format that we want. This has everything a human might need to make an approval. Now, if this looks like Greek to you, don't worry. You can provide ChatGPT with a list of these fields and ask it to generate sample data in JSON for you. Okay, if we've done everything right, the output should now match this format. Before we try it, let's clean up 3 other things. First, we need to remove the send payment reminder tool. The agent can only email if it's been approved in Discord. So I'll remove this tool by clicking the trash icon. Second, let's update the prompt to accommodate this change. There are 2 changes here. First, the agent should just write each customer an email, not send it. And second, we'll remove the send payment reminder tool from the prompt. The last thing to clean up, which I've ignored until now, is that we kick this off with a chat message. What we need instead is a schedule. This is a weekly operation. So I click the plus button here, and then I can click add another trigger, and then select on a schedule. To make this a weekly operation, I'll change the trigger interval from days to weeks, and then leave weeks between triggers at 1. We'll get out of here, and then now let's remove the chat node with the trash can. Let's see if our agent likes the changes. I'll double click on the agent node, and then I'll click execute step. This only executes the workflow up to this node. Okay, looks like we hit an error, and we can see from the red outline around the tool that it's in the get invoices step. Sometimes this happens where the LLM sends the wrong data to your tool. In this case, it made up sending select star from invoice. So let's just make a quick edit to the tool description so it doesn't do that. Now let's try this again. Awesome, that did the trick. Now to check the output will work for that Discord node, I can click on this output button. And now it looks like we have everything we need. Customer name, customer email, subject, and the body. Now give yourself a pat on the back because this was the hard step. Now let's get this approval process set up in record time. The agent gives us output, but we need that output as a list of email details. That's so we can run an approval process on each one. To make that happen, I'm going to add a new node called split out. This does what we want, turn a list and side items into separate items. So see how the agent gave us this output node? We actually need the details list instead. Now that's as easy as dragging and dropping details into fields to split out. You can preview this again through execute step and see that it results in 2 items. Now that we have the list, we've got to add a new node to loop over each item. You'll find that under the flow nodes and then select loop over items. And we'll keep the batch size as 1 since the approvals run 1 at a time. Now this loop looks different from the other nodes. It has a loop case and a done case. The approvals run in a loop, so I'll get rid of this replace me node and this loop path. I'll also get rid of the done path and then drag and drop the plus of the loop path to our Discord node. Now let's configure the approvals. I'll double click on this Discord node so we can edit it. This time we now have access to all the data to create a message. Here's my very simple template to start plugging in data. And next I'll drag in fields from the input, starting with email body. I'll add the customer name as well as the email subject, and you can see a preview of the data down below. Now what's cool with n8n is that the approval processes are built in. So all we need to do is add approval options and it'll take care of the rest. I'm going to choose a simple approve or disapprove workflow. But you can allow your human to make corrections via the response type option. So let's test this out by clicking execute step. Here in Discord in this approvals channel, I can either decline or reject the message or approve it. Let's click approve. Now we've tested it, we get the output saying that approved is true. That means we can send the email. So let's get that set up. To create a branch, we're going to go back to flow nodes and this time choose if. So we only move forward if approved is true. I'll start by dragging and dropping approved into values. Then I need to change the comparison. Since approved is a Boolean, I'll go to that drop-down list. Then I'll select is true. Now it's time for the email node. We'll go over to this true branch because we're testing if approved is true. Search for our email tool like last time, and then let's set up send email. I don't want to wait for a response, so I'll just click send an email. Let's make sure we get our previous data first. That takes a second or two, and now we need to fill in the email info. This is where I don't like n8n. See, we can't access the current data in the loop. Instead, we've got to get it from code. You can copy and paste this code from the description, and the email text is the last of it. We'll head back to the workflow, then make sure that every branch goes back to the loop. That includes approvals and rejections. Now let's run our workflow end to end and see if it works. Okay, it got our emails and now it's waiting for us to respond in Discord. Let's reject this first one for Hope Mills. And now the second one comes in for the Kevin Cookie Company. We got to approve that one. Back in the workflow, we see one email was sent and one was not. And we can see that email in our sent box.
And look at that. In just a few clicks, you can have an AI agent that can reason about the best way to achieve a goal, invoke a number of different tools to get there, and even work with humans to produce the best outcome. Thanks so much for watching. Leave me a comment on what you want to see me cover next, and I'll see you in the next video.